Back to Shanksville for just a moment. The president is still there. As we said earlier today, there's almost a haphazard notion to the way this makeshift memorial in Pennsylvania has sprung up. Just to remind you, Shanksville is a place about 245 people, I think, very much off the beaten track, taken them completely by surprise when people began to come down their back roads to see, first of all, where the crash site was, and it's that, what's left of it is that great mound out there in the middle of the field. But as the president has come, there hundreds, and in fact thousands of people have now begun to descend on Shanksville in an intermittent sort of way. Some of them, again, to repeat myself, on their way to Gettysburg in Pennsylvania, one of the great battlefields of the Civil War, and a shrine in its own way to so many people. And the president is still there, and ABC's Dan Harris is still there. Dan, what's been going on?
Here, the president's still talking with about 250 immediate family members of the people who died aboard Flight 93. There was a private service in the field where that plane crashed at 10:06 a.m. 1 year ago today. The president laid a wreath. There was a moment of silence. Taps was played. Prayers were also offered by two pastors who are relatives of people who died aboard Flight 93. The Reverend William Adderley, who I believe is the father of flight attendant C.C. Lyles, who quite famously made a call to her husband as the passengers apparently made their decision to storm the hijackers. Also, the Reverend Paul Britton, who's the brother of Marion Britton, a census worker who was on board Flight 93 as well. And as you see, the president continuing to talk with the family members. This the second time he has met with them, the first time being September 24th at the White House.
Dad, how hard is it to drive out to Shanksville?
It's about an hour and a half, if not 2 hours, from Pittsburgh, and it is very much an isolated place. As you mentioned, 245 people here. This is a town with no gas station, no restaurant. There is a general store, and as one person told me yesterday, the general store is the biggest industry in this town. And I should say it's not even a town, it's actually a village.
Now, as sometimes happens, it happened in New York a little bit. It hasn't happened in Washington because it's the Pentagon, but it sometimes happens at places which become deeply interested and connected to the public. Little enterprises spring up related to them. Has anything like that happened in Shanksville?
Yes, and it has been somewhat controversial. There are stands around town selling T-shirts, selling other mementos, started by people who live in the village. And there are others in the village who feel that this is crass and that it's making a profit off of tragedy. So there is mini debate brewing in this town. There's also a debate over the future of this town, given the fact that they are definitely going to have a federal monument, a historical park in their midst in the very near future, and people are concerned about development here, changing the character of the town. There's debate about whether putting up a hotel, putting in restaurants is a good thing.
Thanks, Dan, very much. As we've said earlier today, that there's something of a debate about the passengers on United Flight 93, whether they are victims or whether they are heroes, some victims. And that will continue